The property I'm viewing today used to be a storage facility for a bakery. Today it's an extravagant 2-bedroom home with an insane amount of natural light and a really clever design. Opulence have really brought it home with this one, so sit back, subscribe and enjoy the video.
Well, that's pretty good, man. How long did this one take?
6 months for the build.
Yeah.
And acquisition, planning, legals, going back and forth with Wandsworth, about good 5-6 months.
Because you did quite a lot around there. How have you found Wandsworth in general?
4 or 5 years ago,
amazing. Yeah.
Now, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I think they're short-staffed. The people in planning don't have a clue. If someone is looking for a 2-bed or 3-bed property, on a weekend, the people who are purchasing this, they will look at 3 or 4 properties at the same time.
Yeah.
You have to have that 1 or 2 ideas or designs that will stick in their head, thinking, you know what, that stood out. And I think the kitchen really makes a big difference. So about 10 years ago, we used to knock out howlings and benchmarks all the time. Now, when I think a lot of people are getting a bit more sus about what they want for their money as well, we'll go for veneers, grained woods. We go for Siemens induction hogs rather than understanding Bosch. And splashbacks and tile, just to be slightly different. Most developers or investors, they have to go out, find the property, then get contractor on board. They always have issues with the contractor at the end. It's like, oh, you didn't include this, you didn't include that. So that saves a hell of a lot of time and a lot of hassle.
If you work with people for a long period of time and you can guarantee them work, they begin to know what you like, you begin to know how they work. Because a lot of the time, when I hear the stories of why people fell out with their builders, it's not always because the builder did it wrong or the client had unrealistic expectations, because you just do things in different ways. And I've always say that one of the most common things is, say for example, you're doing first and second fix electrics and you're saying, okay, the contractor's going to pay for all the first fix. When it comes to electrics, whether or not the fuse board counts as first or second fix, and depending on who you're speaking to,
It's
and
rare
you can argue it either way,
yeah.
but what we don't like as people, as investors, is feeling like we've been ripped off. So it's not the £200 for the fuse board, it's the feeling that it gives you. So I think working with people for the long term and really understanding how they work can make a massive difference. This is always going to be a project that I like, because I like natural light. And standing here, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we've got the bifold, the fixed panels, another set of bifolds.
So for me, the most important thing was, I think lighting can make a big difference. In here, when we're tucked away, surrounded by other people's gardens, if we just had a standard pitch roof and we had walls, it would be a complete different level of space. And then you have to think about, okay, glazing is not cheap, especially when you're doing floor-to-ceiling glass, especially when you're basically doing large skylights. So we had to factor in and do a custom analysis, of if we're spending 20, 30 grand on glazing, on the GDV, what kind of difference it's going to make. Looking through here, we're into the ground floor, or what we call the master bedroom. If this is your entire space, you're not here with anyone else, do you know what I mean? If you slide that open, you've got that open. You can just walk way through to the kitchen, you've got sliders on, chilling. It's a lovely space.
And I think, for me, I'm not, unless it's like a super, luxury sort of 3,000 plus square foot property. I'm not a massive fan of, or it's a really tiny space where the only way to get a functional wardrobe is to do a built-in. I'd rather leave the space and let the end user decide how they want to.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. I agree with you. And the thing is, you can plan it better enough. Okay, one of the things that we do is obviously put plug sockets in positions and lighting where we think the bed would be and where the bedside tables will work. Then they can basically plan the rest of the space. So here, even if we've got a double bed here, this is a huge space. Do you know what I mean? For them to basically create their own wardrobes, whether it's drawer under there, tall wardrobes in there, and an ensuite.
Nice ensuite. Nice. Warm shower heads.
That's it.
I mean, got all the way.
And then the other thing is, again in here, I think with bathrooms, unless you're shaving or you need to have mirrored light, you don't really need to have bright downlights all the time. And a lot of people make their bathrooms really bright. There's nothing against it, but I find when I'm trying to do an accent wall like this, and you want muted colours, I don't think you really need
downlights. That's what, like, I had a, not falling out, but you know when you have one of these moments of your electrician, I was like, so we had spotlight, we've also had the wall lights.
Yeah.
Like, why are they on the same switch?
No.
And I was just fuming, like, at a certain point in time, it's just like,
and it's done.
All right, next time. But it's just like, you know, because like you said, those sort of softer lights,
it makes
you enjoy the space. It feels a lot more luxury.
So if you're having a shower, things like that, right? You've got that on.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. It's a nice space. The way this property is designed, it's more for minimal living.
Yeah.
So we don't want to have too many storage boxes. But you over there on top of the cloakroom, you saw there's storage above.
Okay.
So we're going to close that off. Above there, you've got elevator ceilings. You can close that off, and you've got storage here. Yeah. So this is for ideally minimal living. But again, elevated height, light strips rather than an LED, natural light coming from the sliding doors. It creates a different form of space than a conventional bedroom. So similar to downstairs, but different colours. We've put an ensuite in here.
And then you got a guest toilet behind. Is that behind?
Down there.
Downstairs.
Yeah. So so one of the things that one of the things that we do, more storage, is even when we do the new builds, like we've done in Fulham, or that we're doing in Tower Bridge, on each level and where we've got each flat, we don't use the same flooring and the same bathroom throughout. Every floor, every bathroom is slightly different because it gives you more of a boutique feel. Yeah. So even if you've got 80 apartments in the entire building, and what we found, and that works quite good in Fulham and the one that we did in Chelsea's, if you've got 3 or 4 people that like one specific apartment, they'll go well at 20, so I think on one of them 48 grand over what you're asking is because they were fighting over what they wanted.
You can attract more people as well, because there might be some people that be like, you know what, I love this.
Yeah.
Some people just want it clean and they don't want any features. They just want minimalist all the way around. But if you're doing multiple units, you can attract more people.
You can attract more. You have to have some. So what we do, we use different types of flooring, whether it's parquet, whether it's chevron, whether it's basically longboards, and we'll do each apartment on each floor will be slightly different.
Property looks amazing, but you know, the important part.
Numbers.
Talk about whether or not you made some money. Actually, before we get to whether or not you made money, what did you actually buy this property as?
I would say, it was, believe it or not, the reason it's called the Old Bakery, it was a storage unit for the commercial property at the front.
Okay.
So it was like, this part here where we're literally sitting was like an old shed. It looked like a shack, pretty much, right?
And it's definitely transformed. And then, so this was basically a storage, rear part of the commercial unit. Did you buy it with planning?
Without.
So you got the planning, so you got the uplift. So hopefully we should see some good numbers. How much did you actually pay for it?
With planning, with legals, with the contingency, we're in about 240, 250.
Yeah. And your build cost?
Build cost to get it to this finish, we're looking at around 250. 250.
Nice. So give it around sort of 500k.
500k, yeah, give or take.
And what do you think it's worth now?
We've had 2 valuations done. One, the lowest one is coming up at 780.
So almost over $250,000 uplift.
6 months, 5.5, 6 months work.
Not bad at all. I mean, you annualize that, you look at it, do you know what I mean? $500,000 a year. They sound like some really good numbers. I think you've done amazing here. I know that you're buying up half the area.
I'm trying.
Area, so we're going to see you on the channel a lot more. We've had an amazing conversation. We're going to make sure we get you on the podcast as well. Seriously though, he's got some serious projects. We're talking, you know, swimming pools, wave pools, basements, double basements, really nice luxury homes. So make sure you go and check him out. We're going to be back next week with another great developer. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions for myself or Daniel, you'll be able to check them out, or we'll try and get back to you in the comment section. We'll be back next week for another episode.